Welcome to the Climbing Daily Wednesday News Show. On today's show, we've got blind climber makes history in America, a brand new face gets climbed in Nepal, and we see the first images of the brand new Olympic walls. We've also got some interesting stuff coming out of the shop this week. Can you see it? Can you spot it? First up, we're going off to America to find out what Jessie Dufton has been up to. UK climber Jessie Dufton has continued to defy belief in climbing. The paraclimber, who has the degenerative disease retinitis pigmentosa and no longer receives any useful information from his eyes, rendering him completely blind, has managed an ascent of El Matador, a 510D of 150 meters. Planet Mountain reports that Jessie led all the hard pitches, placed all his own protection, and took several falls whilst leading. He was supported by his wife Molly, who guided him wherever possible. 5 years ago, Jessie became the first blind climber to lead Old Man of Hoy in Scotland, a feat which was featured on the Brit Rock Tour, and this as well was captured by UK filmmaker Alistair Lee, and so will be featured in this year's Rock Tour. The route provides difficulties up to 510D and is defined by its second pitch, a never-ending stem which requires full commitment, endurance and a high pain threshold. Jessie is the first blind climber to climb the route. Amazing effort there by Jessie Dufton. We met him once at the Lake District Arc'teryx Academy, and his lock-off technique and his lock-off strength is basically something I've never ever seen before, because he needs like a little bit of extra time to kind of place the trad gear. Therefore, he needs to like lock off and feel his ways around the hole, get his bit of gear out, place the bit of gear in the crack, and it just takes him that little bit extra time. And so his arms are just like huge, like they're much bigger than like a normal rock climber, I'd say, because that lock-off strength has to be so good. It's pretty amazing to see. Right, next up, we are heading to Nepal. Planet Mountain reports that French mountaineers Charles Dubouloz and Symon Welfringer have made an impressive first ascent of the previously unclimbed west face of Hungchi in Nepal. The pair went to the region with the express aim of climbing Gaichung Kang, but after a few issues along the way, their gaze was increasingly taken by the peak beside it, Hungchi, at slightly less altitude but with an obvious line up the west face. It took 3 days from the 17th to 19th of May, and particularly Welfringer suffered from illness, but they managed to battle through. An impressive ascent from those guys. They are a team that have done quite a lot in the past, and we're looking forward to seeing what they get up to in the future. Speaking of the future, and speaking of just under a month into the future, it's almost the Olympic Games. With just under 2 months to go to the second outing of climbing at the Olympic Games, we can now see the first images coming out of what the climbing centre will look like. The area features a large outside wall with structure in place to provide cover, and on stage 3 disciplines of speed, lead and boulder. It's looking pretty good, with major differences from Tokyo, looking like the speed wall being placed in the middle. Is someone suggesting something here? The lead and bouldering sandwich it either side. What's really great though is that post-Olympic Games, the walls will be redeployed to the benefit of local communities and associations. So thanks to Jan Vert there for the photography. He took the photos of the climbing wall. It does look very impressive. It's kind of got a nice amphitheatre to go with it, with kind of lots of space in between that and the climbing wall. So there's going to be obviously lots of people watching, hopefully, and the weather's going to play ball, but just in case, there is that kind of cover to protect it. What's interesting about these Olympic Games is that there's obviously been like a bit of a increase in the number of climbers climbing. Last time, because there was only 1 medal, there was 40 climbers climbing. This year, there's 2 medals, and therefore there's a few more climbers. There's 68 climbers climbing. So we're very excited. We're going to be coming back to you with kind of more updates as the weeks go past, and we will definitely be locking in when it comes to Olympic time. Right, next up, we are going to do a little bit of a 9-8 roundup. ET.NU reports that 23-year-old French climber Jules Marchelon has made an ascent of the Chris Sharma 9A Plus route, 3 degrees of separation. The route is situated in Seyouz, France, and it took Jules 6 days. He has previously climbed 3 9A Pluses. ET.NU reports that 21-year-old Austrian climber Christoph Brauer has managed an ascent of the route Intermezzo Gelost 9A. The route was first climbed in 1998 by Kim Loskott and is situated in Plombergstein, Austria, and is Christoph's first 9A. And finally, 27-year-old Italian climber Lorenzo Bogliacchino has made an ascent of Moksha, a 9A route at Pic Saint-Loup near Montpellier. Lorenzo has previously climbed 2 9A plus routes. Okay, so that's it from the 9A roundup. Here is the 9B counter. There are no 9Bs this week. Let's move on. Okay, so it's 9B counter to shop stuff. And it's a very exciting week in the Epic TV shop this week because we have, at last, some very special new arrivals. The Petzl Neox, which I know that a lot of you have been waiting for. A lot of you have been very excited for. And here are the 3 different colors that you can get. You can get orange, which is a pretty traditional Petzl color. You can get black, which is very nice and stealth, and gray, which is, maybe a bit more kind of silver. So gray makes it sound boring. Anyway, we are getting our hands on these properly, and we're going to get a Petzl tuition this Thursday at a local climbing wall. So we're going to be taking the cameras, we're going to be making some little videos about that, and getting some proper instruction on how to use this. Having a look at these on Thursday, along with the other presenters, along with the other cameramen, all the other crew at Epic TV are going to come along. So we are very excited about seeing that in action. But if anybody has tried this yet, has anyone bought it? Let us know in the comments below what you think. Is it like the Grigri? Apparently it's not that much like the Grigri, even though it looks like the Grigri. So it'll be interesting to hear what you think in the comments below. And maybe we will revisit that one next week. Okay, next up, we've got a bit of media coming out of Epic TV this week. It is the second part of a route setting series that I previously mentioned on one of these climbing episodes, but we didn't really have a teaser to show you. Now we've got a teaser of the second episode. Here it is.
So we've currently witnessed the route setters trying out the hard boulders, but now I figured out the other group that's trying more accessible boulders for the wider public. So we're gonna go join them. Let's skip this one.
Yeah, we will change the top.
Nice.
Now it's way better than before. Before it was.
So you're almost happy.
Yeah, now it's getting into a boulder. Before it was not so good.
So there you go, route setting and the mysteries of how it gets done is kind of taken apart in those 2 videos. Both videos will link in the description below, so if you want to have a look at that. I've also been looking at other bits of media on the intranet. It's this thing that you can do, you log on, you can see lots of different things. Anyway, this week, there's this really cool video about Patrick Edlinger. It is a film kind of about his life. It's a profile about him. If you don't know who Patrick Edlinger is, he's also known as Le Blanc. He's a French climber back in the 80s who put up some incredible test pieces. Really, really amazing climber. This video is by the No Grip YouTube channel. I think they've managed to get the footage and they've kind of put a voiceover kind of talking about his life and stuff like that, but it's well worth a watch. I'm kind of fascinated by climbing history and climbing in the 80s and climbing in the 90s and how it kind of progressed. And this video does a really good job to kind of tell the story of one of the main players of sport climbing at that time. Plus his style is on point. I'm a big fan. I think it's really cool. Just go and check it out. We'll link that in the description below. Also, the other thing that I wanted to mention was Zach Galla repeats the process of V16 problem. That is on the Mellow channel. That is really cool. It's kind of in the middle of the desert. It's beautiful landscape. It's really, really well shot. It's quite interesting as well, as kind of all Mellow videos are. I'll link that down in the description below. It's really cool as well. Comment of the week. And I did a song last week just to break the tension because it was a bit of a tension-filled show last week. I think even though there's no tension, I'm still going to give you a bit of a tune. Comment of the week. A little bit of a country rendition there for you. We had lots of comments from the show last week. Obviously, it was a bit of a difficult one to talk about. It's still ongoing, but we're not going to dive too much into it. And actually, I said last week, I said, don't get too abusive, don't get too nasty. the truth is you were all very good. You all had like conversations which, had different opinions and different perspectives, but I'd like to think that you kind of all had them in a pretty good way, and I didn't have to like tick off any comments. So congratulations. So I'm not going to highlight the one particular comment because I think it's an ongoing discussion that we can have, and to be honest, I think right now there's not many conclusions that we can bring from it, other than there are some people that think one side and there's other people that think another way. So the only comment that I'm going to highlight is my pretty rubbish editorial mistake, and it's from Ivan Solilikov 5855, and he said if he would climb all 7,000 meter peaks in the world, that would be an achievement. It's 14, it's not 7. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, that is it. Media, gear, news, done. Hope you have a great week. Look forward to seeing you next week even. And maybe I'll have another co-presenter. Or maybe it'll just be me doing it. Who knows? Bye.